Today on the Ask BP podcast, we're going to be answering the question, how do you feel about using home equity loans to get started investing? Stay tuned.
You're listening to another BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast, where you'll hear short, direct answers to your biggest real estate questions. Submit your question today on Facebook, Twitter, or the BiggerPockets forums by using hashtag AskBP. And don't forget to pick up your copy of the Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing and other great content when you sign up for your free account at BiggerPockets.com. With that, let's get to the show.
Hey everyone, this is Brandon from BiggerPockets.com, and today we're going to be talking about home equity line of credits. The question came from Julio from Virginia, who asked, how do you feel about using a home equity loan to get started investing? Is it a good idea, or should I use a hard money lender instead? All right, so first of all, for those people who are unfamiliar with the term home equity loan, let me take a minute to explain what that is. So a home equity loan or a home equity line of credit, well, let me hit a loan first. So a home equity loan is a loan that you take out from the bank that is secured by the equity in your house. Now that might sound kind of confusing, so let me break it down for you. So first of all, if you have equity in your house, let's say you owe $50,000 on your house and it's worth $100,000. Therefore, you've got a $50,000 spread between what it's worth and what you owe. And that is called your equity. So a bank will actually let you take a loan out and then secure it. In other words, make it so that if you don't pay, they can take that from you with your home equity. So I could go to the bank then and get a home equity loan or line of credit on that equity. Now, typically what a bank is going to do is they're going to give you a certain percentage, anywhere between 70, 80, 90% up to. Some banks will go up to 90%. So let's just use that number, just using this example. So again, we said earlier that we owed $50,000 and we had $50,000 in equity. Well, let's say a bank would give us 90% loan to value, LTV, on that for a home equity line of credit. So we take the total value, $100,000, take the 90% of that because they'll go 90% LTV, loan to value, and now we have a total of $90,000 that they would let us take out in a loan. Now that is all loans, but we already said we had a $50,000 loan already sitting there, a mortgage. So that means if we have 90 total available, and we've already used up 50 of it, we have a total left of $40,000. So that bank would let us use $40,000 in a line of credit or a loan to use for anything. Now, difference between a loan and a line of credit, very simple. A loan is usually a fixed rate, or at least like fixed on adjustable rate, but it's usually a set amount of payments until you pay it off. So a mortgage typically is a loan that you pay on for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. 30 is typical. It's a loan, right? So you have the same amount of payments every month. It just kind of continues on. Now, there are adjustable loans, like I said, that, will, based on the interest rates, can go up and down. But typically, a loan has a beginning, middle, and end point to it. Now, the other side is a line of credit. A line of credit is you're more familiar with the idea of a credit card. So you have a whole amount that you can borrow from, pay back, borrow from, pay back. It's almost like your own personal little vault of money that you can use. So that is what a line of credit would be. So first of all, let me say that I love using home equity loans and home equity line of credits when possible. I mean, it's not like everybody can use a whole ton of them because you usually only have one on your house. You only have one personal house. And maybe I didn't mention that before. It's got to be on your personal house. It's very difficult to get a home equity line of credit on a rental property. So they're cool little things to use. There's actually an entire chapter in my book on investing in real estate with no and low money down, all about using home equity line of credits because they're powerful things. Now that said, let me give you a few of the upsides before I go to that said downsides. So they are fast. In other words, you can go out and get that home equity line of credit. And once you have it, I like the credits better than the loans typically, but it depends on what you're using it for. But I can go out and get that right now. So that way later on, I can go and buy the property right away. I can be fast. I can pay cash for a property. I mean, at least sort of, if I have enough of a home equity line of credit or home equity loan. So for example, let's say I went right now and got a home equity line of credit for $100,000 on my house. Let's say I have a whole lot of equity in my home and I want to go out and get a $100,000 home equity line of credit. I can do that. And so that sounds all fine and dandy and stuff, but I don't actually have to use it right away. A line of credit you don't have to use right away. Remember, it says like your own personal vault that I can pull from and then I can, put back, take whenever I need it. So here I have this $100,000 line of credit, home equity line of credit, that I want to just sit there until I'm ready for it. Now I went out and find a property that looks like a really dumpy property. Maybe I want to flip it, right? So they're asking $60,000 for this property. Well, now I have my $100,000 line of credit I can go borrow from and use it with no difficulty. It's just as simple as writing a check. And I can go buy that property for cash. That means I can buy properties very, very fast and I can compete with other cash buyers. That's kind of a cool thing. And I'm not paying on the line of credit until I use it. Now, a home equity loan is different. A home equity loan, you get the entire amount up front. So I'm paying on it immediately. But home equity loans have their purpose as well. And I can get into that in a minute. Also, by doing that, you're using your own money. Now, if you're going to use a home or a hard money lender, like we talked, Julio asked in his question, is it a good idea to use a hard money lender instead? I would actually say no. If you can use a home equity line of credit, if you have it, use that because it's your own money. You're not relying on somebody else. You don't have somebody else's agenda in the mix. You don't have to make somebody else happy. And when the flip or whatever you're working on takes a little bit longer than you thought, you don't have somebody breathing down your neck saying, where's my money? Where's my money? Right? Like you have you're dealing with your own cash, which is really nice. And then third, you have home equity line of credit and home equity loan are way cheaper than you're ever going to get with hard money. In fact, you can usually get a home equity line of credit somewhere in like the 3, 4, 5% range, and a home equity loan usually in the 5, 6, 7, 8 range. Where a hard money lender, you're going to be paying 10, 12, 15% plus a massive amount of fees on top of it. Anywhere from 5% of the loan up to 10% of the loan just in fees. So I would use a home equity line of credit any day over hard money if I could. Now, again, home equity line of credits will run out very quick and your line will run out very quick. So you can't use them forever. It's not like a scalable process of funding, but it's nice while it lasts. So let me talk about a few of the downsides then. So first of all, if you don't pay, you lose your home. Number one downside of a home equity line of credit, just like a mortgage. Now that freaks a lot of people out. They're like, well, I don't want to lose my house. Well, I understand that, but hopefully you're going to pay your bills. So, obviously don't buy a deal that you are going to lose your house by not paying your bills. So the same thing applies for a mortgage. So I know some people who have no problem going out to get a mortgage on their house, but then they're like, oh, I would never go get a home equity loan. And I'm like, that's the exact same thing. They're the exact same thing. A home equity loan is also known as a second mortgage. Amazing, right? So you're just having two mortgages instead of one. Now, I'm not saying you should go out and do it. People have their reasons for not wanting to have a lot of debt. I have no problem with that. But if you're a person that's okay with a mortgage and not a home equity loan, they're the same thing. And then I guess another downside, would just be the fact that, you're taking all this equity out of your house so that way you can't sell your house suddenly if you needed to without paying back the home equity line of credit or loan. So there's just a few of the downsides, a few of the upsides. My in-laws, let me tell a quick story before we get out of here. My in-laws recently bought a property and they found this duplex that they wanted to buy. Now, before they did though, they went and did what I said earlier. They went out and got a large home equity line of credit on their house. A large home equity line of credit on their house. And they had their house paid off. So technically it was like a first mortgage line of credit. I don't even know if that's a term, but they went out and got this home equity line of credit on their house, and they just had it sitting there with a large sum, not huge, but a good chunk of money available to use. So then this duplex came up on the market and they jumped on it. It was their first investment property. They jumped on it. They bought the property. They used the home equity line of credit to buy it and to fix it up because they had enough money to buy it and fix it. And now they've got this property that is on I think it's like 3 or 4% home equity line of credit, and they've got a really, really good rental property. Now, if they wanted to, they could go and take that, refinance that, which means get a new loan. They could turn it into a fixed rate 30-year mortgage and get their entire line of credit back. And then they could go do it again and then turn that into a loan and get the line of credit back and then do that again and get the line of credit back. So line of credits are fun because of that as well. They just leave a lot of opportunity, a lot of options. So anyway, I thought that was kind of a cool question today on home equity lines of credit and home equity loans. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Before we get out of here, I want to hit today's quote of the day, and that is from JP Morgan. He said, "Go as far as you can see. When you get there, you'll be able to see farther." I love that because so many people are like, well, I don't know how to get to the end. I don't know how to get my goal. They see like this, I want to make this much money or be this successful someday. And instead, all they have to do is go as far as they can and they'll figure out the next step at that point. You don't have to see the entire journey of exactly laid out in front of you how you're going to do it. Just get to as far as you can. And when you get there, you'll be able to go farther. So that's from JP Morgan again. With that, I think we're out of here. So remember, in pursuit of your dreams, don't just learn, but take action. For BiggerPockets.com and the Ask BP podcast, this is Brandon Turner signing off.
You've just heard another episode of the BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast. Submit your question today on Facebook, Twitter, or the BiggerPockets forum by using hashtag AskBP. And for more incredible real estate investing tools and education, including a free download of our book, The Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing, head over to BiggerPockets.com and sign up for your free account today. We'll see you on the next show.